Okay, Wispy sets are by far the most popular and the most demanded lash set that I get requested for, and they're also the most difficult. So let's see if this helps you. And don't forget to hang out to the end for that discount code. Okay, so let's jump into this. I have already gone ahead and I've mapped her. I have taped her, I've primed her, I've washed her, and I've taped her upper lid up. Right now, I am just adjusting the tape in the eye pads and pulling out any of those extra inner lashes that might be tucked under. Getting those inner lashes exposed is really important. We're gonna go ahead and touch back on that in a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna just jump into this and start with our peaks. I like to start my wispy sets with the softer peaks. I like to do the more dramatic pieces at the end because sometimes if you do them in the beginning, they oftentimes end up getting lost in your set and you know, that's disappointing because you spend so much time on these. So save your more dramatic pieces to the end and that's gonna be part of our finishing step. So you'll see that later. Okay, how do I create my softer peaks? Peaks, spikes, money pieces, drama pieces, they're all the same. So whatever you want to call them. Call them something special. Maybe if you think of a cute name, maybe I'll start using your name. The most important thing about these is consistency and angle, okay? The angle has to be perfect and they need to be consistent throughout the entire set. So if you're doing 4 to 6, do 4 to 6. If you're doing 7 to 10, do 7 to 10. Make sure that they're consistent because this is when it starts to look really messy or like kind of sloppy. Just because I start my sets this way doesn't mean you do, but I prefer to start my sets with a 0.04 lash, and I like to do 4 to 6D in a CC curl. I'm following that upper map, you guys. So you can see there's 2 different maps. The top map is going to be for your peaks, and the bottom map is going to be for your volume. Okay, so here's a magic key to wispy sets. I'm actually using the same diameter and the same dimension for my open sets. So my closed sets, remember, were 0.04, 4 to 6D CC curl. Now my open fans are going to be 0.04, 4 to 6D open fan. So it's really the same thing, open, closed. Make sure that your peaks aren't thinner than the actual fan because this is how your guys' peaks get lost. And it's so disappointing. We spend so much time on these, you guys. So just make sure that consistency is key with your closed and your open fans. And just as a reminder, with our volume fans, we are following that lower map, the shorter lashes. The top map is, of course, for your peaks or your spikes. And something that you might notice, I start on the outer corner, okay? Why am I starting on the outer corner? Well, that's because sometimes, even if you bounce back and forth from eye to eye like I do, it does give you time for the adhesive to cure. However, sometimes it's still a little wet and you can easily manipulate the direction of the fan that you just placed and totally mess up your lashes. So, for example, if I'm starting with in the inner, okay, if I'm placing, see how I'm isolating? When you're isolating, you're pushing the fans that you've already done to either side. So if you kind of reference a Russian volume set, Russian volumes are really dramatically angled towards the outer, right? But as a whole, when you're finished, it looks beautiful. If you angle a fan towards the nose, it looks ridiculous. And if you start your lashes on the inside, like if you start towards the nose, it's okay to do your inner lashes and then bounce out. But if you start completely on the inner and go out, you're gonna get a lot of inward angled lashes and it looks really, it just doesn't look right. It looks funky. It just ruins the set. So there's a nice tip for you guys. I have done the opposite by mistake and learned my lesson. So learn from me, you guys. Don't do it. And perfection. If you guys accidentally do a couple that are like 8D, that's okay. A couple's not going to do anything. It's just as a whole, try and be consistent as you can. And when we are placing our fans, we are only doing about 80 to 90% coverage. So definitely do not do full coverage because you want to save some lashes for those more dramatic pieces and the soft filler. All right. I want to talk about why I prefer to use a 0.04 over a 0.03 for my wispy sets. I think when you're doing a wispy set, the whole point is that nice, beautiful, piecey look, right? All right, let's take a quick sidestep. What does a 0.03 give you? A beautiful, soft feathery look, which is not what you're going for when you're doing a wispy set. When you're doing a wispy set, we're doing a PC set. What does PC mean? It means that you're going to be letting light through each lash. So if you're doing more of a dense set, it's not going to do that. So you're going to give yourself a blackout look, which is not what you want for a PC set. All right, and spoiler alert, I do my inner lashes different than most people. I've always done it this way, not because I thought it looked better, because, of course that would be brilliant, but because I couldn't do inner lash fans. It was really hard for me. So by default, I just started doing classics on the inner and would just phase it into the volume or mega volume. And so I was essentially, before hybrid was a thing, I was doing hybrid lashes because I was terrible at fans. Then later on, my clients would say, why do your lashes always look different than everybody else's? And I didn't know. I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. Then we figured it was the inner lashes, and clients love it, you guys. Even if I'm doing mega volume, go back into my page on Instagram. It's SoCo Lashes. You can see, even with my dense mega volume, I always end with some inner lashes as classic, because I just think that it's a nice phase out. Nobody likes that big old chunky look growing out like a mega volume on the inner lash. If anybody who's a cosmetologist, it's like doing a haircut, a men's haircut with blonde hair. My God, there's no room for mistake. You see everything. Those inner lashes, unless you've got multiple layers, which you are so lucky, most people don't, so you see everything. Okay, so now we are phasing into the absolute most favorite part of this set, the money pieces. What are the money pieces? Well, let me tell you. Okay, so this is going to be different depending on your client's natural thickness of their lash. So clients that have a really, really thick lash, it's going to be easier to do this. This look cannot be done on everybody. That's something that you have to accept. Clients that don't have a lot of lashes, clients that have fine lashes, you can't do this on everybody. So again, this is going to be, you can modify it, you can totally modify it, and I'm going to give you some options, but this particular look that you're going to see at the end, you can't do this on everybody. So for thicker natural lashes, you can do 2.12 lashes wicked. So that just means 2.12 lashes glued together, stick it on. For the average thickness, you can do 2 to 3.10. For fine lashes, you can do 2 to 3.07. It's going to give you a very similar look, but it's going to kind of diversify that weight of each fan. And, also for, natural lashes, that thick, average, fine, you're going to have to decide what length is better for your client. So length is also something to take into consideration. As you can see, I am lifting up that inner lash to get a couple lashes that I couldn't get with just the simple tape up method. I use multiple different methods to get those inner lashes. Sometimes my client looks like a cadaver because I have so much tape, but I want to get that inner lash area 100% coverage because if you leave something out, oftentimes you see it. So again, the money pieces, they are all based off of creativity. So you're literally going to have to be looking with your mirror, maybe leaning up, looking to see where it needs to be placed. And I know a lot of people are really strict about placing your spikes on the upper layer versus the lower layer. I'm really strict on placing them on the thicker lashes. So those are the lashes that you're going to be able to place them on, and you know that they're not going to hang low, hang to the right. That's my rule of thumb, and I hope that helps you guys decide which lashes you're going to put those bigger money pieces on. This is really going to take a creative eye, and this is all done for myself visually. So I'm constantly checking with a mirror, seeing what looks like there's a piece missing, brushing to make sure that if any lashes move around, there's not something missing. It's all kind of like, like feng shui of the lashes, whatever looks like there needs to be a piece here, throw it in. So we're nearing the end of our set. Now you're just going to go through, remove any stickies, any lashes that are glued together. You're doing some fill-ins, some fans, some money pieces, some individual 0.12 and 0.10. I like to really, really mix this up, and I like to create a really, again, piecey look, right? You don't want everything to look completely cohesive. And again, prior to this, when I said that it needs to be consistent with what you're doing throughout the lash. So if I'm throwing some pieces in, some 0.10, 0.12, make sure I do that throughout the whole set. All right, well, we're taking the tape off, so I wish that I could say that this is it, the set's over, but the very most important part comes at the end when your client opens their eye. When my client opens their eye, I am removing probably between, let's say, 2 to 6 lashes. Some are fans, some are spikes. So you're going to remove those pieces that just look weird, that look like they're out of place, the angle's off, something's just not right. Again, this is creative, and you're gonna have to use your eye and what you think looks great, but any angles that are off, any lashes, maybe it looks too dense in one area and you're gonna remove a fan or two so that it doesn't hide your spikes. And yeah, as you can see, there are a couple lashes whose angles aren't perfect, and imagine if I didn't really stress the perfect angles and how crazy it would look. So perfect angles still doesn't get you perfect sometimes depending on the natural lash, but do your best on the perfect angles and you're gonna get something like this. Everything in this video can be purchased at socolashes.com. That's where you're going to use your discount code. I used the bubble-free lash wash, our water tincture, and our cleansing brush. I used our Soco Lashes primer, sealer, and application brushes. I used our Soco Lashes one-size-fits-all hydrogel eye patches. I love these. And of course I used our Soco Lashes Stay a While adhesive. This is my secret weapon. And I used 3 Soco Lashes diameters, 0.04, 0.10, 0.12. And my go-to tweezers for pretty much everything. 45 for isolation, 45 volume, straight for inner and outer. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you guys screenshot this and share it on your story, we would so appreciate it. And I know you guys are waiting for that discount code, so here it is.